The meeting of the Revere Zoning Board of Appeals, September 24th, 2014, will now come to order. Roll call.
Mr. Bacilli? Mr. Corrin? Mr. D'Angelo is absent. Mr. Mazzoni? Mr. Colometto? And Mr. Tucker?
Present.
Quorum is present. The first matter before the board is application A1422. This is the application of Hang Ong of 52 Shirley Avenue, Revere, requesting a width of driveway variance to enable the appellant to convert an existing dwelling to a 3-unit residential structure with 2 parking spaces for each unit in the rear yard on lot 23 at 4648 Shirley Avenue, Revere.
Is it on?
What?
Yep,
I think
you're
it's
all
on.
set. Please state your name and address for the record.
James Cipolletta, 385 Broadway, Revere. On behalf of the appellant, just briefly, this is a piece of property that was sought to be a 4-unit dwelling. It was denied as a 4-unit dwelling. Went back to the site plan review, went back to the planning board, and now proposes to be a legal 3-family dwelling. There is adequate parking in the rear. The problem that was picked up by site plan is that although there were 6 spaces on the lot, the driveway does not meet the 22-foot width that's required in the GB zone. Now, the GB zone, of course, is general business, and one would anticipate that it was expected that in terms of using a business, you would have people coming and going, and you'd have arrows pointing in and arrows coming out. That doesn't necessarily translate in all cases to a residential use. Whereas the current driveway is 15 feet wide, it essentially makes all that parking in the rear illegal. It makes it zero parking because you wouldn't be able to get to it. So, as logic would dictate, and given the design of the lot, the availability of the parking in the rear, the constraints of easements in the area, this would qualify as a use that would be entitled to a variance simply by the exercise of common sense. So rather than, even if it were 2-family, he still doesn't have the 15 feet. If it's a 1-family, he still doesn't have the 15 feet. So you're not increasing the use or the number of units by granting the variance for the width of the driveway, just bringing into existence what common sense dictates should happen on that piece of property. You want to get all those cars off the street. They'd be able to park the 6 of them, the 4 of them, the 2 of them, ever how many units they're going to have out in the back. So that's very simply the narrow issue that's applied for is a variance from the 22-foot width. If any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Seeing that this is a continuance, we'll go on with, are there any proponents? Councilor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Ira Novoselsky, 53 D. Hone Street, in Revere, Ward 2 Councilor. This is my district. I have reviewed the plans and seen what's going on, and they are reducing the illegal units that are that had been in the building before he purchased it, and he is putting in 2 spaces per unit in the back. Now, that driveway that is 15 feet, if that's what it is, but I remember when the fire was there several years ago, a fire engine did fit through. So I know a fire engine can get back there to help do anything in any of those apartments in the back. So at this point, I would say I have no objections to this. I think it'll work, and it'll get those vehicles off the street from parking, and which I go for almost any time it would come along. So that's where I am at this point. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other proponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Our next calendar item number?
The next matter before the board is application A1423. This is the application of Beach Revere Investment LLC, 111 Everett Avenue, Chelsea, requesting minimum parking space requirement variance to enable the appellant to convert an existing office building on lot at 500 Beach Street, Revere, Mass.
Good evening. Name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Corey Rhodes. I'm an attorney with D'Ambrosio Brown, 14 Proctor Avenue, Revere. We represent Revere Beach Investment LLC on this variance application. This is to change the Rayner Law Office, the old law office. My client has purchased that property. In the commercial units there are 2 commercial units. We're going to change those to 2 residential units. Those would be 2 bedrooms apiece. Based under the ordinance, this should be somewhat of a simple change. The property is non-conforming as is, only provides 1 parking spot, but actually under the ordinance, this property like this should have 6.8 parking spaces for a commercial residence. But in doing residential units at this property, 2 bedrooms apiece, the requirement would actually only be for 3.5 spaces. So we're actually reducing the impact on the neighborhood. Beyond that, there is a bus stop directly out front. There is the Revere Beach Station, which is a 7-minute walk away. The Wonderland Station is an 8-minute walk away. This is a very transportation-friendly property. We think it should be allowed to go forward on this variance. However, we did just learn of some opposition to this project, and we would like time to meet with those opponents, and we're requesting a continuance.
Okay. Seeing that it is, do we have to continue with the public hearing?
The public hearing will be continued to the next meeting.
Okay. There is a request for a continuance. Is there a motion on the floor to offer a continuance? Seconded. Do we have the roll call?
This is to November 5th.
To November 5th.
This is a request to continue this matter to the next meeting on November 5th, 2014 at 4 p.m. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Yes. Mr. D'Angelo is absent. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Mr. Colometto? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes. This matter is continued to November 4th at 4 p.m.
Okay. And now we'll have our first application come back to us for a vote. November 5th. Nothing in October.
This is the matter of Hang On, 52 Shirley Avenue, Revere, requesting the waiver for 4648 Shirley Avenue. Question comes on granting the relief requested. Mr. Bacilli? Yes. Yes. Mr. Corrin? Yes. Yes. Mr. D'Angelo is absent. Mr. Mazzoni? Yes. Yes. Mr. Colometto? Yes. Mr. Tucker?
Yes.
Yes. This is granted.
Having no further business, we will meet on November 5th at 4 p.m.